Hey everybody, welcome to another review. In this review, I will be covering Daytripper by Fábio Moon and Gabriel Ba. This book follows the life and many deaths of an obituary writer named Braz de Oliva Domingos. He's Brazilian, and over the course of the story, you get little glimpses of his life. Each chapter is he's a different age. So each chapter is a different part from his life. The story is told with a non-linear structure. So, like in the first chapter, for example, he's 32 years old, and it starts out with his some of his obituaries that he's written, and he's 32 years old in the first chapter. In the second chapter, he's 21. And then in the third chapter, he's 28. And it keeps going like back and forth. There's a chapter where he's like 11, there's one where he's like 76. So it keeps jumping back and forth throughout Braz's life. And you get to kind of see the experiences that shaped him and kind of defined who he was and the types of things that he was most well known for, his biggest accomplishments, his greatest tragedies. And the unique thing about this book is at the end of every chapter, Braz dies. And so, the end of the first chapter, he's 32 years old and he gets shot in a bar during a robbery. And he dies at age 32. But then it picks up again at age 21. And at the end of that chapter, he dies as well. And then he dies at age 28 in the next chapter. And it goes on like this for the entire book, with him dying in some way at the end of every chapter. Now, at first, I was like, what is going on? It's the type of book where you try to understand it, but at some point you just are along for the ride, and it becomes kind of a pointless exercise to piece together why things are happening the way they are. And it does answer some of it at the end. It kind of shows what his multiple deaths mean. And it's not a spoiler that he dies multiple times throughout the book, but I kind of see those deaths as potential ways that his life could have ended, and him persevering through those moments. And it's basically this is a book about life. It's a book about death, but it's also a book about life. And it's a book about family and goals and dreams and the things that people hold dear in life and what makes life worth living. And I'm gonna be honest, I mean, like, it's been a very, very, very long time since I last read a book that actually legitimately made me cry. And this book brought me to tears multiple times. It's beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful comics I've ever read, one of the most beautiful books I've ever read, period. This thing is a masterpiece. There's nothing wrong with it. I think every panel is gorgeously drawn. The colors are vibrant. They really pop. All the character designs are like so emotive. Like the facial expressions are so wonderful. And even as they age, and then, you see them when they're younger, and then when they're older, and then they go back to when they're kids, and then when they're older again, and they go to middle age, their faces are still very recognizable. And twin brothers, Fábio Moon and Gabriel Ba, handled both the writing and the art duties in this book. So it's basically like they kind of do both throughout the entire book. And it's very, very difficult to tell who does what panels, who does the art for what pages, because both of their art styles are so incredibly similar. Gabriel Ba actually is the guy who did the art for the Umbrella Academy. So, you know, his style is all throughout this book, but his twin brother, Fábio Moon, he also does a lot of the art in this book, and it's very hard to tell between the two who did which pages, who did which panels, because it's all so similar, and they work so well together. This is the type of story that I think absolutely makes the case for why comics should be widely considered real literature, quote unquote, real literature, and why they should be considered real art as well. This book impacted me very deeply in ways I was not even remotely expecting. And like I said, I can't remember the last time any book has ever made me really think that deeply about life and our purpose in the world, and taking the good with the bad, and dealing with life as it comes, dealing with tragedy, dealing with triumph, working toward goals, meeting people, falling in love, falling out of love, just all the things that come from life, and knowing that at the end of it all, death awaits everybody, but trying to make the most of the life that you're given, and kind of viewing different parts of your life as like individual chapters, you know, and really those chapters, your entire life could end at any moment. So you got to make the most of what you're given. And this book goes about those very deep concepts in a way that's incredibly accessible. And I mean, I said this before, but the art in this thing, absolutely gorgeous. Every single panel just jumps out from the page. I mean, you can really see the detail that was put into it, the line work, just insane levels of detail, and it's like the colors add to it. Dave Stewart, one of my favorite colorists in all of comics, does the colors in this book, and he kills it again. It's just, this book is larger than life, which is funny because it's a book about life. It's a book about making the most of life, and it's a book about death as well. And it's one of the most beautiful things I think I've ever read. Heavy recommend this book. Daytripper is one of those comics that it comes along every so often, and there are really no other books quite like it. But there are books sort of like Daytripper that come along that just completely redefine the medium of comics, and they don't come along very often. It's every once in a while, but they don't come along very often. And this book, Daytripper, is a perfect example of why I love comics and what comics can do, and the things that it can the things that the medium can explore. And I mean, as much as I would love to see a film adaptation of this this comic, I would be also perfectly satisfied if they did nothing with it other than just kept it as this original comic. I think it's perfect. No issues with it whatsoever. Absolutely beautiful, genius book. I 100% recommend this one. This one was fantastic. But yeah, thank you for watching. Look forward to more videos in the future, and have a great day.